Often frosted and festooned with sprinkles, a cupcake is a sugary indulgence that you don't have to share. We don't really know who invented them, but cupcakes have been around for more than a century, much to the satisfaction of those who want to have their cake and eat it. So come on, let's sink our teeth in. These mini cupcakes may be small, but there's enough for everyone because they're mass-produced in a factory, thousands at a time. The dairy and nut-free recipe starts with canola oil. A baker pours a measured amount into a large mixing bowl. A blend of baking powder, sea salt, and other micro-ingredients are added. He then adds a large bag of sugar. The bakers will be making 15,000 mini cupcakes in this batch. Pastry flour flows into the mixer from a silo nearby. Cocoa is added for chocolate flavouring. The mixer is then turned on to blend it all together. Next are the eggs. They act as a binding agent for the chocolate batter and will have a leavening effect during baking. A quick mix folds the eggs into the chocolatey blend. A pump now transfers the batter to the next station. The bakery's temperature is critical during pumping. Too warm and the mixture will be too thin to pump. Too cool and it will be too thick. The pump delivers the batter to a hopper. Down the line, a conveyor moves baking trays forward. A machine uses suctioning devices to pick up paper liners, flip them the right way up and insert them in the baking trays. Valves open and dispense the batter in the hopper into the cupcake liners in the pans. The system controls the flow of batter, so it only partially fills the liners. This leaves room for the cake to rise during baking. A baker randomly selects one of the trays to weigh. He returns the tray to the conveyor and it takes the pans into an oven. They move through different levels with a range of temperature zones over a period of 25 minutes, finally emerging from the other side. During baking, the cupcakes rise above the liners. They now pass into a cooling chamber. The cakes stay here for 20 minutes, while fans blow air onto them to cool them down. The cool air firms up the cakes, so they can now be moved onto the packaging stage. A robot plunges pins into the cupcakes to lift them out of the pans, with the paper liners attached. It transfers them to the packaging conveyor line. Operatives pack them in clamshell plastic containers, a dozen to each one. The team leave the containers open because they still need to decorate the cupcakes. Ahead, fluffy chocolate icing flows out of a hopper into applicators. The icing is deposited in a swirl onto the cupcakes, adding 2 centimeters of height and a lot more sweetness. Down the line, sugary sprinkles are loaded into another hopper. A feeder dispenses some sprinkles onto each of the iced cupcakes. The containers then ride by a rail that folds the plastic lids over. A pusher device presses down on the lids to close them. The containers of mini cupcakes then meet up with a roller that applies the adhesive-backed labeling. Before the cupcakes can leave the factory, a technician tests a sample from the production line. He crumbles some of the cake into pods and places them in a machine. It probes the water content at a microscopic level to determine if the cupcake is moist enough. Another test evaluates the cupcake's texture. When the samples have passed this test, They're ready for the ultimate test, tasting. And that's where I come in. Just save them for after the show, please.